Hello, welcome back everyone for our next episode of Standing Stones. I am excited to hop in and see what all happens this week. Before we jump into everything, I'm going to say a few words about our sponsors and then let everybody introduce themselves. And then we'll get going. Just get the links into chat for our sponsors. First one being Fundamental RPG. It looks like this. It is a simple D20 system that's very easy to pick up, and you can run everything from high fantasy, like this game, all the way to sci-fi, like Animus on Saturdays, and everything in between. So if you want to pick up your own copy, the physical book is on Amazon. Just search for Fundamental RPG. And then if you prefer the digital version, until the end of July, it is on sale for half off at ko-fi.com/Raven, like it's spelled at the bottom of the screen. Excuse me. Which means you could pick it up for just under $10. So pretty cool deal there. Go ahead and head over to that site and check it out. Also at ko-fi.com/Raven, you can find Intrepid products, which is adventuring gear for real life. And we've got apparel and drinkware and accessories and other cool stuff with a tabletop theme. So go check that out. You'll probably find something that you'll enjoy. And then finally, Die Hard Dice. They sell amazing metal and polymer dice. They recently sent me this, wow, words just completely left my brain, Spellbinder Fey Queen set. That's one of their metal sets. They are my very favorite dice. So you can pick up your own set at dieharddice.com, and if you use the code BlackFeatherJune, all one word, capital B, capital J, you can get 10% off of your order. And then finally, if you want to catch up on this show or any others that we have on the channel, you can do so at the Fantasy Network at watch.thefantasy.network. All of that out of the way, we'll head over to Zan. Tell us a little bit about Finn and yourself. Yes.
Oh no, I'm so unprepared. Yeah, I'm Zan. I'm a professional GM and content creator for 5e World of Darkness, powered by the Apocalypse, and a whole bunch of other great systems out there, which is a script I need to update pretty tremendously at this point. But yeah, I am playing Finn Karst, who is what we've now kind of established are called riverbounds, which are people made more or less of water. Finn is more. Finn is almost all, like 99.8% water and 0.2% anxiety. Generally speaking, I think there's a fair amount of pollen in there at the moment too, so we'll see how that goes. And you can find me in a whole bunch of places, on my channel, Insanity TTRPG, over with Pat on his channel, over with Polished Cryptid on her channel, and here. And I'm doing all the things all the time. I've got a little supplement coming out here in a couple months that I will talk more about after the show. Yeah, that's me. Just gonna keep on wiggling. Did I forget something?
My microphone was muted. Nope, my microphone was muted. I'm just talking. I'm just like, did they not? Oh, right, I'm muted. Dang it. Next, we've got Icy Historian. Tell us a little bit about Veshna and yourself.
Oh my word, I was also muted. Hi, team. My name is Icy Historian. Icy Historian, all the places on the internet that I feel like being found. You can find me here now, for any confusion. You can find me other places at times that are not now. I am a middle school teacher who likes to play games. And yeah, hang out anywhere that lets me hang out. And I'll be playing Veshna, a too big for their britches youngster who is just realizing, come to the crushing realization that they are useless. So there's like a lot happening, and it's been great and awesome, and I'm excited to see what happens next.
Awesome. Next we've got Jay. Tell us a little bit about Beckney and yourself.
You've got me. Hello, everyone. I'm Jay, Aurelian Jays. It's hot. It's real hot. I'm a role player in a game dev. If you find me on Twitter and itch.io, I'm going to melt out of my chair in a second. But before I do that, I'm playing Beckney tonight, who is a goblin raised by an armadillo family. I did it. I fucking... it's a pangolin. It's a pangolin. It's not an armadillo. They're distinct. Raised by a pangolin family, the sibling of Pat. I almost said Pyron. The same character. It's hot. And they have recently discovered that they can do magic to replace a limb that they lost as a baby. And it's weird. It's like magnetism, but without magnets. So they're just trying to be as useful as they can to this newfound baby that they have found, and nobody really knows what they're going to do with it. But boy, some goblin parents are going to get scolded something fierce.
Awesome. Looks like I'm next. I'm Raven. I'm the creative director for The Raven Evermore, which is my brand for all the various things that I do, most of which are tabletop related or adjacent. My link tree is in chat. It's linktr.ee/The Raven, like it's spelled below my face. And then I play Callie, or Cauliflower, and she's a bit of a anime stereotype, not being super bright, but really enjoying fighting. She's got a tail like a monkey, and she's very protective of her friends. She's a lot of fun to play. Next we've got excuse me, Pat. Tell us a little bit about Pyron and yourself.
Hi, I'm Pat. I'm a Tactric online on Twitter and Twitch, and I play games here and on my channel and other places. And I played Pyron tonight in Standing Stones. Our I also almost said armadillo. Our pangolin theater nerd, a sort of amateur magician, I guess, just general angsty performer boy, who is maybe a little less convinced now that his voice/music is cursed. Maybe it is maybe falling a little bit less in the hole of everything in the world is my fault and I suck. Very healthy mindset.
It's fantastic. Next we've got Hannah. Tell us a little bit about Sage and yourself.
I don't know if you heard this from Jay. Jay might have mentioned it. It's hot. I'm Hannah, or Whoa Hannah. Tonight I'm playing Sage, who is a fawn, and does medicine. We're having a good time. I got 2 cold cloths. It's great. I think that's it, actually.
All right. And next we've got Calliope. Tell us about yourself in this really cool world that you put together, and take it away.
Hello, I'm Calliope, and I want to start out with just sort of acknowledging the human beingness of all the players today. You can hear, this is the best my voice has sounded in several days. So hopefully it'll last. And speaking of hopefully it'll last, that also goes for the players. So if you wilt into a pile of nothingness, that's okay. We'll make it work. But hopefully this distraction will help everybody get through these next couple of hot hours. So I'm Calliope. You can find me here. You can find me on Zan's channel, trying out 10 different non-D20 based RPGs in 10 weeks. It's called Gaming the Systems. Yesterday, we did Mouse Guard. And here's my fangirl moment. David Peterson came and said hi to us. He's the guy who writes Mouse Guard. So that was like a very exciting moment. The thing I didn't notice until afterwards, or I would have probably just imploded. And next week we're going to play Microscope, which is totally brand new to me. And I'm super excited about it. But today we are going to find our heroes. We start with a pan over, and you see them trudging along a long highway. It's not really it's not like a long desert highway, but it's this sort of long path. And on each side of the path are what we found last week to be very not cool red flowers on these sort of tall bushes. And if you get too close to them, they sort of charm you and then try to eat you. And so we've managed to push our way through into the middle of the road, and are sort of trudging along in the direction that we think we should go. However, as of right now, you're just sort of going. And so when we last left everybody, Oh, I want to show up like a couple hours later, right? And you guys are sort of walking along. I think one main difference that has happened is I do think that someone has tied some sort of rope, like a belt or like maybe more like a ribbon, to the baby, off so that that people can take turns holding the baby while it sleeps. It likes to float quite a bit. It doesn't
Baby
always, but I think that you've been trying to. The baby doesn't always make the best choices in that it is a baby. So, I like this sort of image of you walking sort of slowly towards the northeast with this baby balloon and sort of walking along. And so it's been a couple hours and you're sort of trudging along. And I think that you probably are looking for a place, perhaps looking for a place to take a break or come off the highway. But right now you can't because there are these flowers on both sides. And then you haven't seen a break in them yet. You have also not seen any other traffic so far, other than that one caravan that was glamored up to be a giant caterpillar that whooshed through last episode. And there we have it. So what's everybody doing after a couple hours of just walking along?
Well, I think Callie has run out of things to talk about, like with Sage, and so is now probably bouncing back and forth between trying to play with the child and like I think probably still encouraging Pyron a little bit about the playing and the singing and everything that saved everyone. So she's probably bouncing back and forth between those two things.
I like to imagine that Sage has like a piece of wood and is carving something. I'm just like absent-mindedly.
I think Beckney has found a stick somewhere, and when they're not holding the baby, they are kind of just routinely like whacking, not maliciously or anything, just kind of absent-mindedly whacking at the flowers on the other side of the road.
I think that Finn is probably due to like hanging out in the pond the other night and being made of this like new kind of water that they're not really used to being comprised of. I think they're feeling real loose and real limber, and so they're whereas normally they try to do like the tableau walk just to keep pace with everyone else. In this little bit, they're kind of getting a little bit more whimsical with their movement. It's a lot more of the crashing wave approach that kind of like will curl over itself and bounce to the other side of the road and maybe go a little bit higher. And it's a little more energetic than it normally is.
I think that Veshna has been practicing, like, since it's like performance magic, I think Veshna has been practicing like mimicking bird song that she's heard, and like kind of began like kind of absent-mindedly because she's like deep in her like middle school existential angst of like, I'm useless and can't do anything. And I also think that there may be a little like Disney princess-esque like trail of like woodland, like little woodland creatures, like nothing exciting, but just like that, like join and hang for a little while and then go away, as you know they will want to do.
May I insert some humor into this? I like to imagine that one of the birds at one point figures out that you're like imitating them and says something rude, and Sage just like snickers. Because the bird's just getting you to say swears or something.
I love that.
I think Pyron is I imagine half of the time I'm with Veshna because I'm keeping my mind off of how shitty I feel by trying to talk about other stupid shit and cheer them up, avoiding both of our problems and just burying that down. And then also like just practicing like playing around with like some magic tricks just with the magic since we've got it out here, like the shit where people would like make fire and sparkles and shit. Like he's just trying different effects that he can make. I'm like, Vashna, do you it's like I mean, I need to like make sure I know what to say to Sage beforehand, but like controlled burns are a thing, right? Like that could be good for these flowers. And then we could rest and not be in the middle of the road.
You know, I don't know. I think the whole thing is like something in the air. So I bet if we set them on fire, that's just gonna like make them mad. And then there'll be more stuff in the air. And like, I don't know, man. Those vines didn't like us existing. I don't know how excited they're gonna be about us existing and also setting them on fire.
I mean, I can't talk to plants, but maybe they're angry because they're crowded and there's too many of them, and maybe that's how we save the day, and then they're friendly and don't try to kill us.
But are we?
He's suddenly been louder about this than he thought.
I think Finn starts and then quiets real quick.
So Beckney, can you roll a smell and taste?
Oh, absolutely. There we go. Roll 20 something a day. 22.
So as Fen starts to talk and then stops, you crash directly into them because they stopped right in front of you, and you sort of like come out of it and you're like, I mean, how do you react to sort of crashing directly into Fen?
I think Beckney's immediate reaction is just that jolt of panic of like, oh god, I'm drowning in the air. And then they realize that they've probably walked into Fen, unless a river decided to go vertical, and no one mentioned it to them. So they kind of just like do like a and try to swim out of it. And then once they're out, they'll just kind of turn around meekly like, sorry, Fen.
Well, as you do that though, I think you notice that, you know, when water's been standing around for too long and it has that weird funky kind of smell to it and like taste to it, you're like, this isn't something I should drink. Not that you were trying to drink, Fen, but like you have this.
Some got in the mouth, yep.
And it's not great.
Okay. Beckney kind of looks Fen up and down. Does Fen look like, does the water look cloudy at all, or like kind of is
Why
it...
don't you roll sight?
Well, this will go well. It's a whole 3.
You don't know.
All right. So yeah, I think Beckney kind of does like one of these like, Fen, you taste wrong.
Oh, okay.
Like you're not moving.
It's the water, yeah, because I kind of melded with the pond water the other night, and so I think that's just the. You don't drink murky pond water. It seems like a bad idea. Sorry, I should have let you know before I stopped. But I don't think the Dryads would agree that we have the authority to make a decision on burning woods around here.
Hey, no one was talking about burning woods. That I don't know.
Why are we talking about burning woods back there?
No one's talking about burning woods.
I don't even know how to start a fire, so.
No, we may have been discussing whether there was any value to a controlled burn of specific carnivorous wanting to kill us flowers.
I would like to add that that is a very creative interpretation and use of the word "we."
I mean, a discussion revolves around more than one person.
I was standing next to you when you posited an idea.
So as the two of you were having this sort of like fight, Fen, like when someone's asking a question, is sort of contorting themselves into a question mark, and then when someone makes a declaration, they change back into like an exclamation mark, and it's really kind of weird, and not super Fen-like. That they're sort of like making these like weird, almost like they're kind of like behind you, like.
Are you trying to punctuate our sentences?
And are you okay?
Yeah, no, it's just. I think the fresh water, well, the water that wasn't from under the bubble, I think it's really doing some good. It's got a little bit more pep in my step. That's all. If something feels right.
Okay. You will, like, we're not trying to judge you or anything, just you'll let us know if anything is wrong, correct?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, then we're good.
So
Callie kind of chimes in like after the fact, like she's just now kind of caught up with the conversation, and just goes, "Isn't burning forests bad? I feel like that's a bad thing."
Which
Correct,
is why no one was talking about that.
Oh, good. Okay.
Want to be real clear.
So
well, good then.
who is first in the line as you walk?
I guess it's probably Callie and Sage up front then?
Yeah, Callie's definitely towards the front, if not at the front.
Because I referred to y'all talking about forest fires back there, so.
So as you come over the next little hill, you see a small sign on the side of the road. It's sort of like long and small. It's sort of like it's the shape of those signs that they like Burma Shave signs, which are like in the 40s and 50s. They would put these signs all along the road, and you'd read them all over the course of a long period of time, and it would make like a poem or something, right? So it's that sort of shape. It's long. It's not like a street sign. It's more like a long yard sale sign or something like that.
And sorry, what is it written in?
We haven't said.
Oh, okay.
Are we close
yeah.
enough to read it?
Sure.
Callie just looks to Sage and is like, "What does it say?" She can't read.
It is scrawled out in someone's handwriting, and it says, "Friendly!" Exclamation point. People! Exclamation point! Exclamation. Ahead.
It says friendly people ahead. That's suspicious.
I mean, there hasn't really been anyone out here that I would classify as friendly exactly, so I am also suspicious.
Friendly people ahead.
It's probably another sign up further
There's
on that's
also-
like for eating or something like that.
There's also not really been any people either. It's all new. It's all
Except for the
new
people
and-
who live in death and steal magical creatures who we have not met yet, but we know exist.
Does it
So-
say how far ahead they are?
Nope, just ahead and then 2 exclamation points.
I feel like those exclamation points are doing an awful lot of work on that sign. And I'm noticing that they're not commas. And while I was extremely successful at the Steps to Respect program at the Pylon, whatever our town name is, Memorial Elementary School,
Memorial Elementary School, yeah.
I was also, I came first in 3 years in a row in Mrs. Mulgrady's Grammar Palooza. And those are not commas. So they are not, in fact, modifying the people. and that is concerning.
Are you saying it's like commands? Like, friendly! Be friendly! And not related to the fact that there's people?
Friendly. People. Ahead!
Maybe you can only be friendly when you're up there?
Maybe you get ahead by being friendly and people?
Or
What if you don't want a head?
If you don't want to be people.
These are valid questions. Veshna, you're really smart. Do you have any idea of what this is talking about?
I mean, I've made a lot of signs in my day, you know, blue plate special signs, yellow plate don't order this signs, red plate you didn't pay your bill last time, so this is what you get signs. It's like a color system. It really didn't work out well. Dad went to this marketing. It was a whole thing. I mean, we only really have a head as an option. So there's that. But I don't know. I'd like to think that we're pretty friendly, and none of us have ever felt the need to put a sign out in front of our room that said, "Hey, friendly us," somewhere.
I guess if you're
As
flying
you're
around.
having this conversation, you hear the baby make a really weird noise, like a ridiculous, like cooing noise, or just like a sort of squeal. And you look over, and Fen, the baby's kind of surfing on Fen. Fen has sort of got the baby like on a wave, and it's sort of going back and forth around, like not really paying attention to what you guys are doing, and it's sort of like entertaining the baby by having it sort of surf.
They could do a little huddle away from there, be like, does everybody feel like Fen's doing okay? This is a very extreme shift in personality.
Anybody got a divining rod?
Maybe there was something in that pond water. Are there any like weird plants that grow in the water that make you, you know, well, like
here?
people are, when they drink the stuff in the tavern,
Alcohol.
the beer.
Drunk.
I mean,
That's the word. Yeah.
I mean, okay, so they say they're fine, so I'm going to accept that they're fine.
Can I investigate Fen? All right.
What, pirate?
Oh no, I was just gonna say that, sometimes people say they're fine and they're not really fine. I know that sounds weird if you could believe it, but
Who would do that? Just tell lies on the internet.
I have a 7 in sight, and I rolled an 11.
I don't suppose that empathy would help me get a sense of... I don't know if empathy is the right thing to interpret these, strange behaviors or not, but I'm pretty empathetic.
Like empathy or gut feeling, I would go with.
So yeah, you can't really tell what's happening. Veshna, you can't really tell what's happening with Fen, partially because Fen's moving so much. There's like a complete lack of stillness to Fen, which is very unusual. Pyron, you thought you wanted to roll like empathy or gut feeling or something like that?
If that's cool. If that
Yeah.
would fit. 22 in empathy.
You, over the years, in the Page House / multi-generational bachelor pad, you have had different times when you have maybe had to pour Uncle Toots into bed after a particularly long night at the Pilot on Inn. And you kind of know when people, you're a performer, you can kind of gauge the crowd. There's something like decidedly off about Fen. And it doesn't seem great because it's so weird. And, you can really tell that, right? I mean, you just sort of are putting all the pieces together that there's been a personality shift, the behavior's sort of odd. And yeah, like you definitely get the sense that Fen is not he's not on the same page as you about how well Fen is doing.
Well, because like Fen, like is Zan, I think if you described it, it's almost like different, like it's almost like a flip book where Fen kind of goes through these.
Yeah.
Still, are these just like fluid
they move stop
movements now?
motion? Yeah, now they are like moving like water coming through rapids or something. They're actively, they are not still. It seems like they are in progress to something else rather than here, there.
The other thing I would note is it's kind of hard to tell, Pyron, because Fen is such a strange set of shapes right now, but Fen almost looks a tiny bit smaller. Like maybe not all of Fen is coming along with you when it's, when they're crashing all over the place. They might be leaving little bits behind.
And did Beckney like drink more of you than we thought, or like that tree? You look smaller.
No, I'm just no, I don't think so. Maybe I'm like there's a little bit more vapor around me than solid water. Just a little bit more motion than normal. The crashing and the mist and stuff.
Yeah, I'm seeing you're much more mobile than usual.
Yeah, I am. It's really cool.
It is very cool.
And Fen is like literally throwing the baby up and down while you're having this conversation. And the baby floats when it wants to, so, but it's like, as you're having this conversation, is just sort of throwing the baby around, much to the delight of the baby.
Sage. And Veshna is going to, in that, like, everything is completely fine way that, like, ER nurses have when they're about to tell someone that there's, like, a piece of you that they're going to have to reattach. Sage, I'm just wondering if any of our floral and faunal friends are aware of any source of water nearby, coming up soon, in the general vicinity.
I can inquire.
Yeah, I think we've all been traveling a while, and
Some water would be good for everyone. We
a little refresh, would be lovely.
I'll ask
I
if there's
got-
any moving water.
I got
So that we
Fen
can-
stuck in my mouth, so.
I guess I will do some magic to inquire about where the frick frack is magic. Here it is. 26. Beautiful.
I'm sorry, I was a little distracted by
Totally fine.
child 3. What are you trying to do?
Essentially, Sage is just going to go ask for if there's any running water nearby that is clean.
So, what's immediately in front of you? Excuse me for a sec. Child 2, I can't talk to you right now. No, I'm on a
The child will have what it wants.
No, it will not.
All right, bingo card. We've gotten 2 of 3 children.
Oh, dang. Nice. Full collection
So-
almost.
Yeah. The third one is the rare though. So you might have to drink like a lot of bottles of Coke to look and see if you get that one. So today's episode brought to you by Coca-Cola. So, right, there's a very thick hedge of these red flowers.
Mhm.
That's what's immediately near you, and they are hungry. And they are not interested in talking to you. Behind them, there are some other trees, and I think you can get some sense of it from them. They think about the water that's under the ground. And they don't think that the water that's near you, like the small water that is near you, is for drinking. Because it's poison.
Ah.
So like Sage just having a little chat with the tree and like kind of does a bit of a jaw drop, like, oh shit.
How does Sage preface this to the rest of the group?
So the tree says that the water that is nearby, the small water that is nearest to us, is not for drinking because it's poison.
Beckney immediately starts like spitting and like clawing at their mouth, like, oh no, oh no. Oh.
Are there any like birds or anything nearby?
I don't think so.
All right.
As this is happening, Callie, I like to think that you're maybe kind of like you're paying attention, but other people are solving this problem. And so I'd like you to roll sight.
Sure. Uh, 25.
So you notice that further down the road is another sign.
Okay. Who's closest to Callie right now?
I sort of feel like everyone's kind of clumped up, and except Callie's probably a little further away. So,
okay. She'll go over and probably tap both Veshna and Sage on the shoulders and be like, I noticed there's another sign, but I can't read it. You two are good at the reading and smart stuff, so what does that say? She'll point it out.
Let's take a look while we think about poison water.
Well, can water? I mean, I know that water can have poison in it, but if you're made of water mostly, can you get poisoned? Because so there was this time. So Uncle Toots had a lot of Bloody Garys, and he also had this really bad paper cut from working in the library, and he didn't treat it, and it was just getting bled. He was losing blood, and Fen is losing water, and then the Bloody Garys seemed to hit stronger than they would normally because there was less.
Hold up.
Sorry.
Sorry. We're good. I missed what was going on. I apologize. We can go to a break if you need.
I'll be okay. I'm just gonna breathe.
Okay. All right. Sorry. What were you saying, Pat? With less description, I think.
No, yeah, of course. Sorry. Just if there's less water and that thing is it changes how it would normally change how people act. Maybe it's affecting Fen more because there's less of them.
That's true. The smaller you are, the less tolerance you would have for like alcohol or poisons, etc., because there's less of your body to diffuse it and handle it.
Yeah, Uncle Toots didn't know that about me.
I think Veshta's gonna go and investigate the sign situation.
Okay, so the sign says free, and then in parentheses, good advice. Ahead.
That's fantastic. Good advice.
And
This
they've really
seems
hooked
really
us.
sus.
Yeah, they've really hooked us on this one. I gotta know. The advice is don't read signs.
This sign can't stop me. I don't know how to read.
Yeah, I think Callie Walfer, like, kind of what I was saying, like, these signs seem like they're trying to convince us of something, and I am even more suspicious of these things now.
Or it's very hard to advertise good advice out here beyond the barrier.
Maybe they just get bored when they're driving.
Let's see. Pyron, why don't you go ahead and roll sight, or in gut feeling? What's your roll gut feeling?
It's an 8.
So, you don't know anything about signs. I don't know, maybe it is good advice. Maybe it isn't. It's hard to say. It's in parentheses. Never mind.
Is there anything like weird about like the quality or the materials of the sign?
Yeah, that was actually kind of what I was getting at.
Does it look like it's been like scratched out or anything weird?
It absolutely looks like someone scrawled it out.
Like
Another, when you go to yard sale signs, and some of them are so beautiful, and some of them somebody wrote like yard sale
yeah,
in
and
like
then,
a Sharpie and just stuck it up,
yeah,
and you're like, that's the quality it is.
or like those signs that you always see that someone is selling the same hot tub over and over and over again, and you're like, this is 100% not something awful.
Right, exactly.
Can Veshta take like a really close look at this sign and see if there's any other like anything about it?
Sure.
Like are there other words like underneath?
No, it's in the same handwriting as before. But here, why don't you do a site, and why don't you do a site? So
21.
So I think you look ahead and you can see parts of the road ahead. Like you can see it pretty well from the next little bit, and you don't see any other signs. And you don't see any like breaks in the bushes or anything. So it's kind of mysterious. In the meantime, what's Fen up to?
Well, I think Finn is so I think maybe that Finn has been trying to try like some different shapes, like a little bit of, because Finn's natural determination has always just been like, well, okay, so the people that I talk to are 2 legs and 2 arms and a knobbly bit on top of the flat bit. You just gotta, they put together in that kind of way. And I think Finn is experimenting with a less humanoid shape, like just kind of idly like, well, okay, this is a little bit like lower to the ground and a little bit more spread out, almost kind of like bipedal, and like here's kind of a moving waterfall for a second, and I think Finn's just testing stuff out, trying, because like something feels off, but not really sure what, so we're gonna try to find the one that feels right.
And I do think by this point, you can see that there's something like growing or brewing or something in there. Right? It's like those tendrils when tea is steeping. And it's not like I'm a squid, but just sort of like something's brewing in there, and it's not great.
Wait, in Fen?
Fen?
Yeah.
Just kind of smack it out.
We don't need a second baby.
No, it's not. I mean, you can't. Well, sure, go ahead. Hit him. Hit them.
Like if we just noticed it, that would have been like, ah.
Okay, do it. Roll an attack.
You're not Bubbles. You're not the approved pet. Attacks. How do those work? I don't attack.
I know. Remember those?
Right.
I guess melee attack. 13.
You're afraid to hurt them, so you're just like, hanging on.
I think your hand just sort of goes through, and it's like if you were trying to catch tea in water, right? Like,
Can I add
Go
one
ahead.
thing?
yeah.
I think Finn is hot to the touch.
And I think the third thing is, as you sort of like swipe through, you catch some of the water, and it doesn't like go back. Right? Like normally, I think if you accidentally stuck your hand through Fen, it would come out pretty much dry. Because there's like conservation of matter. The Fen can't just be like leaving parts of themselves behind on every surface they encounter, or they will become a nothing.
Like
Right.
more like a gel that like constantly tries to reconstitute itself.
Yeah. And so I think that's part of the like being a waterborn, right? Is that they keep a lot of themselves together. And that is not happening. Which is very strange.
Does anybody else feel like we should find a place to get off the road and talk about stuff?
I feel like we definitely need to find a water source for Finn.
And
No, I'm good.
you've got what are like, do tapeworms live in water? You've got like something growing in you.
Yeah, that's normal.
Beckney, what did you want to say?
Beckney's literally holding their hand up, waiting for someone in the party to be like, "Oh,
Beckney?
a question. Hasn't the baby been on Fen a bunch?"
Yes. Does someone want to examine Limebug?
I forgot that's what we named them.
Yeah. I think Beckney, if Beckney is close to Limebug, they'll do the like check the temperature with the wrist kind of thing. Check for a fever because they can't see much else. Yeah.
So Limebug seems unaffected
Well, that's
by
good.
whatever's happening with Fen at this time.
Okay. Just in case, I think we'll save the babysitting for later. So Beckney will do their best to emulate the fun motions or what have you.
When you turn back though, further down the road there now is another little sign.
Okay, are these signs multiplying?
Well, I mean, they could be dividing.
So,
Signs point to yes.
You're all
That's good.
fired.
so do you guys walk down towards it? Are you gonna stay away from them?
Oh yeah, Finn's going. Let's do it.
It says ahead. A place to get off the road and talk about stuff.
That's awfully convenient.
I was just about to say that.
Callie
I
would
didn't-
say if she could read.
I think Veshna's gonna like sort of look all around, like
So this is clearly a magic trap.
like at the next sign, like look around for any evidence of anybody else.
Okay, so what kind of role is that? I mean, it could be sight. We've been doing a lot of sight.
Well, what were you looking for again, Veshna?
I'm just wondering, like, gut. I don't know if it would be more like gut feeling because it sort of is like there's a like.
Yeah.
She's not like looking for anything specific. I don't know.
Is it like
Vibe check.
trying to see if there's that feeling of being watched kind of thing?
Sure. Okay, yeah, do a gut check.
I got a 12. I should have stuck with sight because I'm better at that.
It's a little weird. It's weird. Something's
I-
weird.
I was gonna say, could Beckney likewise do a bit of a gut feeling? Because they're
Sure.
actually more worried about the baby and Fen than they are about the signs. They're like, signs
Yeah.
can say whatever they want.
Yeah, okay, so this is a gut feeling about the baby.
Mm-hmm. 25.
So, the baby seems fine. That being said, I think your gut feeling is to keep the baby as far away from Fen as possible.
Yeah, okay. That was kind of my intention anyway, but that is good to have confirmation.
Get the Baraka out!
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, Fen is acting so erratically. And with this, although the baby, like, you don't seem to be suffering any. Whatever's happening to Fen doesn't seem to be catching,
Right.
right? It didn't do anything to you. It didn't do anything.
You might say it's a waterborne disease.
Yes. Mhm, exactly. Well, and
my
this
God.
kind of makes sense.
I'm so
Last-
sorry.
Last episode, Fen reacted really differently than you did to the red flowers.
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
hard to say kind of what,
Yeah, true.
their biology or hydrology or whatever is very different.
Becky
so-
thinks goblins are immune to disease. 100%. that is where their brain goes. They're like, no,
love
we're just immune. It's
I
fine.
love when people make assumptions.
Yep.
So
So Fen's heading towards those signs. We all agree that the signs are a bad deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are these signs like painted?
That just
They are-
popped out of nowhere.
they just kind of got like somebody wrote it in a fantasy Sharpie.
Okay, I was wondering if it was like still wet, like someone just made it.
Ooh. That's a good question,
Like-
actually.
I mean, it wasn't there before Sage said we need to find a place to get off the road and talk about stuff.
Okay, got it. So there's no question about that. It's okay.
Does Beckney vocalize the concerns about keeping the baby away from Fen at all?
Yeah, they do. They're definitely like kind of quietly murmuring to the baby, and they're just like, we should definitely keep the baby away. Not that like it could get sick or I could, but like for the rest of us.
What if goblins can be carriers but can't get sick themselves? That's out of
Well, like-
character. I'm just having
I was gonna
Oh,
say, I'm like,
okay.
I don't think I can carry anybody.
Callie was literally be like, sure. I mean, everybody can carry stuff.
Yeah.
But Callie is gonna offer to like fly the baby up into the air to get get them further away from Fen and see if that does anything.
Okay.
And then,
But you know, if it gets sick on you, I'm not cleaning up.
oh,
Finn
that's
did
fine. I'll
stop,
just flip it
like-
out.
Finn stopped like 50 feet away from y'all, just like I imagine, slightly out of earshot, and then when they realized that y'all weren't following, just turned into a giant, slowly rotating question mark.
It's like a buffering wheel of questions.
Right.
Icy, you were doing hand motions?
So I think that Veshna's concern in this moment is that that they're being watched, and their desire to help their friend is going to be lead them into an ambush. So Veshna is going to I use performance magic to see if she can make another sign appear.
Okay.
To see if she can see it actually appear, because there's also a part of her that's like, I'm a 14-year-old kid who just trusts the world implicitly for reasons that no one over the age of 19 will ever be able to fathom. But she's also kind of like, well, maybe I can see it happen, or see someone do something. So she's going to go to Sage and Pyron and them, and just sort of be like, and use performance magic to mimic she's just gonna use performance magic to say, I could just say this, but I feel like a roll would be better, and needless complication of children. I think we really need a good home cooked meal. I think that'll make everything better. And then,
And so she's trying, so I think I misunderstood what you're saying. She's not trying to actually make a sign. She's trying to encourage a sign to appear.
it seems as though the signs are coming up whenever the group says they need something. We need nice people, or oh man, what do we do? Or, oh, this is what we need right now. So I think she's gonna say to Sage, very as if it was the normal conversation. I think what we really need is a nice place to have a home cooked meal and rest. And she's gonna.
We all just stare at where the signs keep
to
appearing.
see if anything, and kind of make her way toward Fen, at as if she was still walking, and see if anything happens sign wise.
Okay. Callie, are you flying? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I was going to take Lime Bug up into the air.
Okay, great.
And after Beckney mentioned the baby possibly getting sick, she's just sort of holding Limebug out a little bit away from her, so if they do throw up, it just goes down.
Okay. You're all staring really intently down the road, and I think you hear a noise. What kind of noise would Fen make if they were hit by a paper airplane?
A paper airplane?
Yeah, like a big paper airplane made out of cardboard, or like signboard.
Probably there would be the kind of sound of something hitting something hard, and then I think Finn is really loud right now because they're moving, and just water is loud when it moves because it's a lot, and so I think it's kind of a whoa, yeah, after the initial kind of sound of impact.
All right, and so you turn back, and there's this very large paper airplane sticking out of it.
Veshna's gonna go examine the paper airplane.
And the paper airplane says, "This guy looks like crap. Turn left soon for help."
I think she's gonna take now this time like all pretense avoided. She's gonna look around and be like, or you could just help. Like, I mean, this is good. This is fun. I'm impressed. But you could also just help. In case, I mean, just as an option.
I don't feel like I look like crap.
Roll. You do totally look like crap. By the way, above the table.
And this is like totally Veshna's like bluster is covering up her like very, very, very real increase.
Okay, I want you to roll either. I want you to roll some sort of like daunt or charm. Are you trying to intimidate them into coming out or charm them into coming out? Or
I think it's more like I would say it's not so much intimidate. It's more like you've clearly identified that like we need something and like I'm not picking like we just need help. So I would say it's more charm like than daunt because she's not a particularly intimidating figure.
Right.
And she rolled a 9. Oh, but I have charismatic. So I can re-roll, but I have to take the second one.
Great.
That was a perfect 25. It's
Awesome.
She's like, starts to say something, clears her throat.
Okay. As this happens, a little bit further down the road, like, two beings sort of somersault into the road through the flowers and like get up and like pet, 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 pet. And they look at it and one of them's like, I told you we should just say hi. And the other one's like, but Satriel says that people have to make their decisions. And they look at you and Sage, what's really interesting is they look exactly like you.
Fawns?
Where?
Hi.
Hi, are you gonna come or not? I think your friend is dying.
Oh no, who?
Okay, so this isn't a trick. Shut up, fun. I guess we
it's a
should.
pretty stupid trick if we're gonna come out here.
That's okay. That's a fair point. How are we feeling, everyone?
Can Callie see all of this?
Yeah, you couldn't see them before, but once they roll out onto the road and they're just kind of looking at you.
Callie just sort of calls down and goes, back me. I think you're right about the kid causing some stuff, because I see 3 sages now.
Oh, that's weird.
Help.
No.
How do I help you? You're in the air.
Oh, right. Sorry. She'll come back down.
And I think actually as you go down, Callie, why don't you roll a sight for me really fast?
Okay. 23.
Okay, I think you do kind of catch sight of a break in the hedge ahead
Okay.
on the left.
She'll point that out to everyone. Like, hey, there's a opening thing over there.
Well, shall we then?
Yeah, come on, yeah. But you
Do
can't.
you trust these people?
I don't know. We
Come
Leans in, it's
on,
like,
come on.
the other sages are talking now.
Just to clarify, they look like sages and they're more fawns, or they look like clones of sage?
So that's a good question. So they are fawns who look a lot like Sage. They are not exactly clones of Sage, but if you made different breads from the same recipe, if you made 3 loaves of bread from the same recipe, and then you had them, they would have some individual differences, but for the most part, they would look pretty much the same, right?
I can confirm.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you've done it right, they look pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
Although some of them have weird lumps and stuff sometimes. I mean the bread, not necessarily fawns. I don't know if fawns have weird lumps. And they're like, hey, what's your name?
You first.
And one of them's like, my name is Parsley. And the other one says, my name's Sage.
It's my name.
You can
No
have that one.
way.
That's already taken.
Who? Do you know Faunus?
No.
Oh. Okay.
You know Satriel?
I've not heard that name.
You better come. This is not right. There can't be 2 stages. I'm going to fight you to the death, but not right now because your friend's going to die. So later.
Okay,
We'll
first we
have
fix the
dinner.
friend, then we fight to the death. Got it.
Yeah, we'll have it between dinner and dessert.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned that everybody's saying that I'm gonna die. Why?
Well, let's go.
Why are we?
I
I
literally
thought it was
just
a-
told
I
you
thought it
that
was
the
a fun
water that
joke.
you went in is poison.
Well, a lot of things are poison to y'all and not me. That's a normal
But the
thing.
tree said it was poison.
So
I'm not a tree.
I think Parsley like whistles that loud whistle, and a third fawn comes out with a really big bucket. It says, "Hey, you better get in here.
Or what?
You're losing shape." And you can see that Fen is losing shape. You better get in here. We'll carry you. Satriel will know what to do. Satriel always knows what to do.
I'm going on a limb, and I'm going. I think it's gonna be okay. I think we should, because we don't know what to do about Fen, and
I mean,
they might.
if they're like you, then the transitive property of you, if we solve for the hypotenuse, then Satriel has got to be like Faunus.
Just get in.
Faunus always
Just
knows what
get
to
in.
do.
Fine. And Sage is already like skipping over to them.
Callie like leans in closer to Veshna and just with very concerned voice is just like, why are there more sages now, and why is one sage threatening the other sage? Do I punch that sage? Is that good or bad? I'm very confused, and I'm a little scared.
And I think other sages' ears pop up, and they're like, "Yes, yes, yes. Oh, this will be so fun. After we fight to the death with the 2 sages, we can fight to the death. It'll be so much fun." And Parsley's like, "Shut up." And Parsley and the third fawn are taking little cups of Fen and pouring them into this bucket like stretcher thing because Fen is not actually moving in the direction that they want them to.
No. It's fine. It's fine.
Just get in. Just get in. We're going for a ride, baby. Come on.
I'm fine. And I think as Finn goes to like move, they do like the one crash is normal, and then like on the rebound up, they kind of fold too soon, and just hit and kind of water balloon out in a really like weird way before mostly pulling themselves together. Oh, okay.
And aggro sage says, "Don't make me drink you with a straw and spit you out, because I will."
Oh,
I don't
okay,
recommend it. They taste really bad.
I bet.
Sorry, Fan.
Ben,
Yeah, no, it's
Ben, Ben, can you do something for me, please?
sure. Yeah.
I know it's weird, but I know that you don't feel sick, and I'm glad that you don't feel sick because I don't want my friend to feel sick. But we're seeing some stuff that I don't think you're seeing, and if you could get in the bucket, that would be really helpful.
Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, it's kind of fine.
And as this is happening, they're still like taking like ladles full of Fed and putting them into the bucket. So by the time this conversation is over, like probably half of Fed is in there anyway. And they're gonna be like, oh man, this is so heavy. This is so heavy. And they're like sort of bickering about like who always has to get water from the well and like whatever, but they're all sort of carrying this big bucket.
Well, if you think it's so heavy, Callie could always carry Fen.
Yeah!
She's
Aggro
very
Sage
strong.
is like, yes, do it! Oh yeah, I want to see those muscles.
Callie very hesitantly walks over. Well, actually, before that, she asks Veshna to borrow like charcoal pen or something like some writing utensil. If Veshna has one.
Oh, wow.
This is gonna be hilarious.
Veshna looks like at Callie kind of quizzically and digs in, and she has like that really cool set that like all of the kids in the late 90s got at Hot Topic, when Hot Topic had that moment where it was like, we're gonna be a head shop and not the 9 Inch Nails merch store. Like that brief moment in time where they sold the like fairy posters and the crystals and the incense and the 9 Inch Nails merch, right? It was a beautiful time. And they had those like colored pencils that looked like they were like branches, but like you could color with them for like 9 minutes and then they were useless. She's gonna hand.
I vaguely remember this. All right. Callie's gonna look to Veshna and go, oh, thank you. I just, 1 second. She'll walk over to our sage. And just like on the back of their hand, maybe, just be like, I just need to. She'll make like a mark. Be like, okay, now I know which one for sure is our sage. So, do you agree with the other sages that I should carry Fen?
I mean, they're complaining about Fen being heavy and you're strong.
Okay.
And also, Fen is our friend anyway. I would like it if we carried them.
And you all see the other sages, right?
I mean, they sound
Yes, they're just
Okay.
similar.
And Aggro Sage is
all
like,
right.
no, hey, I just want to be clear. I'm the real sage. This is the fake sage, and they all have a different name. Like, we're not all named Sage.
You
Yeah, but I know we only know this one, so you're the fake sage.
Well, we're gonna have to see who's taller.
Now that I'm looking at you closer, our sage is a little bit slimmer, so I think our sage is the real slim sage. And the rest of you were just imitating.
It's time to go on break.
Pick up the bucket.
That's it. We break to Callie holding the bucket and the other sages helping, and everyone on this stream going home to die in a hole because that was the worst reference ever made. Everyone takes 1,000 points of psychic damage and inspiration, and we'll be back in 15 minutes if we can put it together, but I don't know if we can. I might be broken for the rest of it. See you in 15 minutes, guys.
Thanks so much, Michael, for that gifted sub to Econorlax. Let me know in chat, Econorlax, who you'd like to give an advantage to. And yeah, we'll be back in about 15 minutes. Hey, welcome back, everybody. And thank you again, Michael, for the gifted sub to Econorlax and the redeemed guild coins from Econorlax, giving an advantage to Beckney and Pyron, it looks like, so that everybody can have an advantage. Thank you so much. And yeah, back to you, Calliope.
So you go through this big hedge and you sort of, follow the other fawns, and they're sort of bickering with each other the way that siblings do. Agro Sage is super interested, is helping Callie with the bucket, and is super interested in talking to Callie about, fighter stuff. Stuff that I'm sure Agro Sage knows much more than Calliope knows about. But it's talking about all the things they can beat up and whatever. It's super into that sort of same thing.
Would you say that they're fighting words?
No, I shan't ever say that. Yes, they are. They're fighting words. So after you go along for a while, you find yourself at a place that is not entirely dissimilar from Faunus's house. It's much bigger. And there are probably half a dozen fawns of various ages. They're all relatively young, but of various ages doing things fawn things. They're collecting eggs and hauling water and making stuff grow with their minds and napping, all the kinds of things and cavorting about. And they're all, they kind of stop and look at you. And Agro Sage is like, "What are you looking at? Yeah, what are you looking at?" And they're all like, "Okay, whatever." And they go back. I do want you to sort of note that no one actually seems to take Agro Sage very seriously. That's just sort of seems to be their style, right? No one actually seems too worried about fighting to the death with Agro Sage.
That's good.
Any of the siblings, anyway, or the others. And so they'll Parsley's like, okay, come, you need to bring, I think you should bring your friend over to the sick room. And we can get Satriel, because I don't want to spill them either, but we get Satriel, and we could get Lavender and Dylan, and they know they're almost ready to go out on their own. They'll know what to do too. And so they sort of hustle you into this side building, and it is, Sage, it is beautiful. It is heaven to you. It's everything that Faunus does, but so much more, because there's so many more resources here, right? So it's a whole separate room, and all the plants and herbs and things are really meticulously recorded, and there's just more room. And so it's everything that you do, but even more so. It's Candyland for you.
I like Faunus's house.
Okay. Fair enough.
Just a little caveat with Callie carrying the bucket and while Agro Sage is talking and stuff. I feel like Callie's doing the friendly, polite talking, yeah, sure. And meanwhile is looking to actual Sage I am uncomfortable, help me, sort of expression. She's still weirded out that they look so similar, because Sage is the only fawn that Callie's ever seen before.
Yeah, and so Sage, Callie, your head is like probably exploding off your body because there is, easily close to 10 or 12 varying sages here. And how does everybody react when they see all these different fawns?
Do they all smell the same? I know that's
Yes
an odd
and no.
distinction.
No,
Okay.
yes and no. They're all the same kind, but they're all individuals.
Gotcha. So like
So
the
they-
same kind of base smell, but different like notes.
Yeah, well, like when you can pick up a towel and you're like, yep, that came from my house.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, nope, this comes from somebody else's house,
right.
right? They still came from like a human house, but they didn't, right? It doesn't smell like a cat or something.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think Beckney is definitely like meandering closer to our sage and just confirming the smell difference. Like not like going like straight up, but just kind of like confirming kind of between different odors.
I think one of the other fawns comes over to Pyron and looks at like Pyron right in the eyes and knocks on his forehead.
Hello?
Are you a rock person?
What, you've never seen a pangolin before?
Does
What?
He's not a rock person.
I told you. And one of the other ones like, God. And they like pull out like some little coins or something and hand him over. What's a? I've never. Hi,
hi?
I'm human.
I'm Pyron. You don't have any pangolins out here? Part of me thought that after we got past this house, then there'd be another like bizarro town like our town, and there'd be like a family of bizarro pangolins there. That's not the case?
What are you talking about?
Just rock person stuff.
Ha! See, I knew he was a rock person. And the money hands back.
Sage gives
human says-
Pirate a
and-
half-hearted, like, little backhand slap. Just like, hey.
Can you, are you good? Are you good at acrobatics?
Me?
Yeah,
This is the fawn asking.
yeah.
Um,
Like, could you roll up in a ball?
yeah. Beckney and I do that all the time.
Do it.
That's
Do it
true.
right now.
I roll into a ball.
And Cumin is incredibly impressed. And who's Beckney?
That's me.
You can roll into a ball too?
Mm-hmm.
With your baby?
Probably.
Do it.
So Beckney rolls into a distinctly less like perfect ball shape with the
And
baby.
they're like,
Yeah.
And Cumin's like, well, I can't roll into a ball very well, but I can walk on my hands. And then Marjoram will look at this. Come here. The rock guy, come here. He wants you to see this.
Uh-huh.
And they get on their like hands and they put their little fawn feet in the air, and then the other one puts their fawn feet on top. And they're like sort of walking around. And they're like, what if we did that on you and you rolled?
Yes.
Okay.
No,
And so
It's
they're
like
in-
we always practice, but I can't get the motions right.
And so I think automatically, like, they're they can see the, like, you know, it's like the meme of all the different, like, mathematical calculations. These two are super into this idea of, like, an acrobatic show with you. And I think one of the older looking ones is like, would you like some help with your baby? Does your baby need anything, sir? Ma'am, but, you know,
Becky looks at the baby and goes, "Are you good?"
why don't you come with me and we'll get your baby something to eat and wear, perhaps.
Oh. Yeah, I just assumed that was normal. I didn't wear anything at their age. Bugs? You have bugs?
Sure. So I think they're going to take you and the baby and sort of bring you over to like another thing and start looking for bugs, and they're like mashing them up and sort of chit-chatting with you about babies, and maybe like showing you how to burp the baby. Maybe like showing you some basic baby care.
Yeah. Beckney is as attentive as Beckney can be while thinking about eating bugs, because they are starving. There's
Yeah.
nothing to do with my
there's-
actual in-game. You know, I'm not hungry. I don't know what you're talking about.
But so yeah, I mean, I think there's plenty of bugs to go around.
Okay.
So in the meantime, the door to the sick room opens, and there is. It looks almost exactly like Faunus, but younger, a little younger.
Are you Satriel?
Yes. You must be Sage.
I'm Sage.
I've heard about you from Faunus.
You know Faunus?
Faunus is my parent too.
Oh,
So that makes us siblings. Although I'm the older sibling, it seems.
I've never had a sibling before.
Well, now you do, and you have many, many nieces and nephews and relatives.
Our friend is sick. Maybe.
We can speak of this more later. Let's attend to the one who is sick.
Yes,
Callie
please.
just sort of like awkwardly holds out the bucket.
Tell me what you know. If Faunus is still the same, you probably know a lot of things about what. You have probably been trained pretty well to know some things about what could be happening with your friend.
Okay. The other night they assimilated with a pond and have been acting strangely since. So probably they took into themselves something that is foreign and possibly hurtful. A tree did tell me that the standing water was poison.
Hmm. And so at this point, Finn, are you like at all conscious or making noise, or like what are you doing?
I think Finn is like still they are the I know it's 5 a.m., but I have had 5 cups of coffee, and so I'm still fine. Nobody can tell that like I'm just trying to run on momentum. And so Finn is definitely like, "Oh yeah, this is really cool. What were we talking about? Oh right, saffron? No, turmeric? I'm sorry, I forgot your names. Yeah, what were we? Yeah, what were we doing?
I love the idea of this babbling bucket.
Right. And I think Satriel sort of like puts their hand in and like picks it up and looks.
They're not holding form properly.
I think they've been they've clearly been compromised, as you said. And did this begin before or after you came onto the road?
I'm trying to remember like character or like player head. I'm trying to remember. Was Fen any different?
So out of character, this happened after the encounter with the red flowers.
Okay. So then, like, the only other thing that happened then was that we got caught in those carnivorous red flowers by the road, and they did seem to affect Fen differently. I think they might have drank or maybe injected. Fen is smaller.
So I think they're going to like pour Fen into a really big tub, like a really big wash tub. And
What are you doing?
like a really, really big cauldron or something, right? And I'm not making you into soup. Do not worry.
Just blop, blop, blop.
Do not worry, Riverbound. And I think they sort of like mush around and call Sage. I take your friend and go to and gather some water from the well so we can dilute this poison, and I will set up. I will attempt to gather some of the foreign materials out of your friend. Like, and I think what I'm picturing is like a cheesecloth. Like they're gonna try to like strain Fen, right? And there's this like one rock, right? There's still that one rock from the Lucracata, and they pick it up and they say, and your friend, and this Riverbound is a friend to the Lucracata.
They were. The Lucracata is not in the web anymore.
When you are a friend to one Lucracata, then you have the respect of all of them because you are in the web.
They in fact did not eat us, and we did appreciate that.
That is a lucky and wise thing. So they're gonna send you guys out to get out to get some water. In the meantime, Veshna, what are you doing?
Veshna is sitting quietly under a tree, sort of watching the whole thing. I think she's maybe like sketching, like drawing stuff in her like notebook that she kind of carries around and like jotting down notes of stuff that they've seen. Because she kind of is like, well, I don't do anything cool. Like Sage heals, and these are all fawns, and like I don't roll into a ball, and I don't have a baby, and I'm not Fen. And like Callie carried the bucket, and so she's kind of like, I'm just gonna stay out of the way.
So, I think it becomes very clear to Lavender pretty quickly that Beckney really doesn't have any idea what they're doing. when it comes to the baby and sort of takes the baby off their hands for a little bit so that they can go try some acrobatics with the gang. Like, I'll just babysit for a while. Right.
Arfa, take good care of them. And they like Beckney's really hesitant about leaving the baby in someone else's charge.
I will be here working. I am working on transcribing some things, and I will take Limebug and place them here in this holder so they may sleep while I work.
But they like to float, so just watch for that.
I will. And I will, if they become distressed in any way, I will come and tell you immediately.
Okay.
But you may come back and check on them at any time.
Okay. Hey, thank you. And then Beckney rolls into their like kind of mostly ball shape and rolls out into where the acrobatics are taking place.
So as all this is happening, Veshna, I think a small fox comes out of the underbrush. And do you have shoelaces?
Sure.
And starts, like, as you're working, like, pulling on your shoelace a little bit.
I think like the first time it happens, she kind of just idly shifts her foot. I think that this sort of like this I don't, oh my god, not all I can think of is the word transcribing. This like curation process is like important, like something that she just sort of does. Like again, the Harriet the Spy journal. So I think it's like after it happens, I think she just sort of like lowers the journal and just kind of watches the fox.
Who is watching you back and is like yipping at you.
Hi.
Oh. Do you not speak fox?
No. I'm not a fox.
Yes, you are.
I'm sorry. You're probably looking for somebody else. My friend Sage is a fawn. That starts with F.
There's lots of fawns around here, but let's play.
I think she like looks through her bag and like pulls out like something that she can make into a ball. And she kind of is like, I mean, I can throw this and you can like bring it back or catch it.
I mean, I can throw it and you can bring it back. But that sounds terrible. Let's go grab some mice.
Okay. Are they close? My friends are all doing stuff.
You're too big.
Yeah, I'm to a lot of things, bud. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. Sorry.
Why don't you change and become fox all the way?
So
it'll be easier to catch mice that way.
I'm not. I've always kind of just sort of looked like this. I know that the like face thing and the tail thing is probably somewhat misleading.
It's very impressive. Mine has a long way to go. Yours is much bushier.
Well, I'm under a bit of emotional distress at the moment. It'll probably calm down.
Jumping on mice helps.
I think Veshna's gonna like try not to like kick the fox, but she's gonna kind of stand up and like look down at it and be like, I'm not. I guess maybe I don't understand. We're not like from here. We live under kind of a bubble. And so I think things here are different. But I'm just me. Like I mean, you should see, if you want to see some cool stuff, my friends can do super cool stuff.
But I wanna to catch mice.
I mean,
You.
and I think she's gonna like try and do some like, I don't know if no, that's not really performance magic. Never mind. Like she's like trying to help the fox in some way. She does not understand. She's like, I'll go with you. Like, I'll go with you. Show me, where do you catch mice? I mean, I've never done it before. I'm usually too big. We have to get them a lot at the tavern. My dad always says that I should, drown them, but I usually just run them far away. Sometimes they come back.
You could eat them.
What?
I mean, you could eat them. That would solve the problem. But I will eat them.
Yeah.
You hit them on the head really hard.
Yeah.
And stun them, and it's kinder that way.
There was a time we had that conversation, and then Dad told me about health codes, and I don't know what those. I still don't really understand what those are, but he said that getting rid of the mice helped with those. So
That sounds boring. I mean, not the getting rid of the mice part, but the other part.
well, I mean, I'll help you. I'll help you catch mice. How can I help?
You're the wrong shape.
All right.
You'll catch mice better in a different shape.
Okay. I really hate setting you up for disappointment. So I'm going to sit here and I'm going to promise I'm going to try real hard to change my shape. And it's not going to work. And when it doesn't work, we're going to go to plan B and I'll find some other way to help with mice.
And when it does work, you'll eat mice.
Sure. Yes. And so I think like Veshna is going to like sort of like sit and like I don't know what she thinks like I'm about to do a magic looks like, because she's been doing so much of her little magics like not really like thought like voluntarily almost. So she's gonna sit and be like, Fox.
You're not really trying.
All right. So I can make music. That's something that I can do. And she's going to kind of make like a little song, like something really simple, like a Zelda, like ocarina situation. And she's like, and I can make things dance. And she's going to make the like flowers kind of like do a little like we're at Disneyland type thing. And she's like, and I can do some stuff with like colors. My friend Pyron's way better at that though. He's really good at the stuff with colors, but like that's the kind of stuff that I can do. It's not very useful or exciting. I mean, how would I go about turning into a fox?
Well, I think you need to think small.
Okay.
Like think about becoming a fox. You can't just say fox.
Okay. Worked with the flowers, but sure. And she's gonna sit down again, and I think in her mind, it's gonna be like one of her drawings. And she's going to imagine like her like crudely drawn self-portrait of Veshna like walking along a crude road, and then she becomes like more bent over, like she's made a little flip book like in her head, and like as she flips through the flip book, like first she kind of is hunched over, and then she's like walking like a little kid on all fours, and then her body elongates and her clothes become fur, like in her mind, right? And like it takes probably like a minute because she's like really committed to it now, because it's a flip book and she's a child.
And in the middle of it, the fox says, "Oh no, the clothes aren't part of it."
What do you mean the
No, don't lose it. Don't lose it. Don't lose it.
Okay.
Just the clothes don't come.
Okay. Fine. And then she's gonna kind of like go back in her mind and like redo the flip book. And then it's without the.
I like this sort of idea. I want you to roll magic, and I like this idea that maybe the nearest person to you is Beckney, who is seeing this very blurry vision of you sort of like undulating in bigger and smaller and reddish bird, and it's like, my vision is not getting better.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like something's going weird in this place.
I got 25.
So
Vashna, are you okay? You're getting kind of bendy.
Yeah, I'm good, Beckney. No worry. Thank you for checking on me, though.
Mm-hmm.
that is absolutely not human being talk. It is a Foxia thing. But which you don't notice, Vashna. Because you don't speak Fox.
So to Beckney, sorry, to confirm, that it, like
Yeah.
all I hear from Vashna is a fox yipping.
Yeah.
I think Beckney's just gonna nod and be like, they do that.
That's
And they're
that's
just like, they're
about
looking
right.
at no one in the house in particular, and they're just like, this is normal. This is totally, like, no one panic. This is totally, because inside they're like, I have never questioned whether or not she can make fox noises, so.
Well, and in the meantime, you are like really enwrapped in this very large, chaotic acrobatics show now. And
Beckney's definitely the pill bug rolling around the really impressive scenario.
but I think the Fawns are also like encouraging you to use your magic to like kind of like shoot up into the air sometimes or something. Like
Okay.
they're
I can-
and they're like, okay, after dinner, but before dessert, we'll do this whole show. It's gonna be awesome.
Aaron better do pyrotechnics.
And
Pyrotechnics.
Pyrotechnics. And I
Yes,
think
exactly.
they're having a really hard time, Pyron, balancing on you because of their little hooves.
Mm-hmm.
And you're kind of slippery.
Yeah.
And they find this hilarious.
Also, not nearly as acrobatic as I'd like to be.
And they are.
Yeah.
But as they, like, every time they all fall in a pile, it is hilarious to them. And often involves, like, wrestling and, you know, just sort of, like, it's just all very good-natured.
Mm-hmm.
But so I think, so like, okay, we gotta get stickier feet. We gotta get stickier feet. Come on. And they run over to the sick bay and are like, looking like, oh no, we can't go in there. Let's go around. And they're like messing around in like one of the like side sheds that has supplies. It's like are putting like molasses on their feet. What about let's put molasses on you and our feet, and then we'll stick together better.
I feel like this is not the first time this has happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that. So
I feel like last time this happened, it was like pitch or something. It wasn't like molasses.
we used like way too much too.
Yeah.
It's like okay, so like a little is gonna go a long way, because otherwise like I was like twigs and leaves and feathers and stuff were just
Oh my
sticking to me for
God.
weeks.
I'm just picturing like
Ask.
Uncle Toots has to come along and like scrape you off the ground because you're stuck
Right.
to.
And I think Lavender like pokes their head out and is like, it like gives you some tips on how much to use, right? And has the baby and it just sort of goes back. Yeah, so that's all sort of happening. In the meantime, I think. Well, I was gonna go back to Sage and Callie, if this is an okay time. And I think so. You're sort of like Fen is now in this big pot, and I think Satriel has put some like lotuses or like other kinds of what I don't know. Marianne Calliope does not know enough about water
Purifying.
plants,
Yeah,
but those
like
purifying water plants like on the surface. And so every once in a while, I feel like Fen's like head comes out and it's got like a bunch of random plants on it, and then they're like, shh, and like kind of put them back.
back down. A little bit longer.
And everybody's just sort of like scooping them out, like trying to scoop out all the dirt with the cheesecloth. And
Hey, Sage.
Yes, Fen.
I don't feel so.
I know, Fen. It's gonna be okay. We're trying to help right now. We're gonna get rid of the bad stuff.
Whoa.
and I think maybe one of the sort of there's this whole variety of like ages of fawns that are younger than Satriel, but some of them are older than you. And one of the older ones, I think, you know, is sort of like doing whatever the bidding is. And Satriel says, I wonder if a garlic would help.
Can I like do a medicine check?
Sure. I mean, we're like literally just making this up now. So,
Yeah, I have 3 points in herbalist as my profession.
Right.
I'm gonna go ahead and
I've got an off-camera story about why this is the worst idea ever, but y'all go right ahead.
Well, that's why
Okay.
I'm gonna try and stop this. So this is gonna be +3. Let's go ahead and advantage that. Frick frack that
Good call.
one. Don't want to mess up my friend. So that's a 20.
Yeah, so I think the thing that you really notice is that, like fondness, Satriel takes you seriously and is asking you, right, for your opinion. And although they obviously are older and know a lot more things, they're not like, go along, little one.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you suggest?
Time to look up on Google.
Just make it up. Just totally make it up.
Do you have any water mint?
Yes. Go get it in the cabinet. We probably still use the same system.
Okay.
And you do. And I think when you're in there, you notice most of them are written in this very, like, no-nonsense script. And a few of the really old-looking jars have Faunus's handwriting on them. Like, really faded. You know, there's a few from before.
Sage kind of pauses for a second, like just runs a hand on the old jar. It's like, Right. Water mint. Got it. Because I think if we like keep it more or less whole, but run it through, that will help. It actually might be best just to plant it in and leave Fen overnight.
While we do this, I would like to hear of Faunus.
Okay.
I
Like
have
now?
I have not seen them in a long time.
We have a house near the barrier. They say it's been there since before the stones were set.
If it is the house I am thinking of, that is true, because that is where I grew up as well.
When did you come over here? Were you made before the barrier or after?
Yes, before.
Why did Faunus stay?
They felt they needed to keep an eye on things on that side, and they felt their place was there. But it has been hard without them.
It's hard without them now.
I can write to them, and they will sometimes get it. Squirrels are not good messengers. But if I send a letter, it will sometimes come across the barrier. You cannot, because the barrier keeps out magic. It is very hard to keep the idea of delivering a letter through many sets of squirrels.
Yes.
But I do occasionally find that we can write letters back and forth.
If you would like, well, I don't know when or if we'll ever go back. Maybe I will. I miss them.
But you are here,
We're here.
and they know.
Yes. They told me to go. Or that my friends would need me because
Because they will do things such as getting themselves poisoned.
well, clearly I'm not doing a very good job of taking care of them then.
Well, you can't keep. Oh, go ahead.
Callie takes that opportunity to start hyping Sage up because she's just been like awkwardly quiet this whole time, and then
Right.
Callie just starts going like, "Oh no, yeah, Sage is like really. We'd probably be dead if it wasn't for Sage, or at least some of us. No, they've been doing a great job."
I am sorry to have left you out of our family reunion. I'm Satriel.
This is
I'm
Callie.
Sorry, Callie.
Callie just laughs.
Callie, it may be hard to believe, but Sage and I are siblings.
Yeah, that's. You're like Sage's older sibling.
Older sibling.
And still, somehow, none of us are as old as Faunus.
No one will ever be as old as Faunus.
Well, yeah.
Faunus was old when I was a child.
I think that's. I mean, I'm not very smart, but I think that's how time works. Like, you can't get older than something that's already older. And she starts like deliberating that in her head, and then it's like, that hurts my head. Never mind.
You're doing great, Callie.
This is a fair point.
It's very nice
I am
to meet you.
sorry. I am sorry of the confusion of the other sage. I did not know of you.
I guess naming is something that we're not, maybe all of us, very creative about.
I did not expect, and I did not expect that you would meet. Because you are on the other side of the barrier.
Faunus had to use a lodestone to bring in magic for a little bit to make me.
Yes, it is quite a process. As you can see, I've been doing my best to keep up what I think Faunus would have wanted. And so, now they have many grandchildren. So
If I go back, I will tell them.
Don't let other sage give you too hard of a time. You can pull rank as my sibling.
Mm-hmm. Sage is like super happy about that.
And then I think Satriel turns to Callie and says, you and my sage are much alike in that, and I think that my sage would benefit from having a chance to spar with you and learn from you. They are not the kind, although they all come from the same recipe, they are not the kind who wishes to plant flowers and heal people. They are the kind who wishes to protect with their fists and their hooves.
Oh, yeah, they don't actually want to, like, really fight to the death, right?
And they laugh and they're like, no.
Okay.
They are prone to hyperbole. And after dinner, sometimes we will have entertainment from everyone if they are working on something new. And they are always wishing that someone will fight them. But it is hard. They're not well understood here.
Oh,
there are not many of us who choose to fight.
I get that. I don't know a whole lot about hyper bees, but I'd be happy to fight with them. That'd be cool.
Thank you. And so you're sort of like scooping, and I think Sage is like telling some funny fauna stories, or like, and Satriel's like asking, yeah.
Talk about Bernice and Prudence.
Right. Absolutely. And so you're sort of like, as you're like trying to scoop the crap out of Finn, who's just like blah, blah, blah. Is like totally all mixed up at this point. And I want to go back to Veshna. And so Veshna, the fox boops you on the nose with its nose.
Vesha sort of opens her eyes and like looks at the fox like, sorry, bud.
But now they're right at eye level with you.
And so I don't know like how fox, like, I think she had a tail and I think she had kind of like the ears like in kid hair. Like it was very much like anime cat girl, except not creepy. And not like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like not with the connotation that sometimes comes with that. So looked a lot more like a person. And so she kind of opens, so I don't know what her facial expressions are like, but if I imagine the camera sort of looks at her and there's a moment of surprise, and then you see this look across her fox face of like, well, shit. She's like, so like, what do you eat with mouse? Is there like a side dish?
No, they're best. You'll see. You like them best raw.
Great.
And I think as she gets like weirded out by that, it's like, oh, come here, quick. And as she's like thinking about that, I think she starts to like lose fox form a little bit. And it's like sort of comes back to being human. It's like, but, close. Over. I don't care. But I know humans care.
She's gonna close her eyes and try to flip, and you see like the flip book goes by really fast, so she's back to fox form.
So, I have to say, above the table, one of my least favorite tropes as someone who likes science is when all the stuff you're carrying transforms into you, because that doesn't make any sense.
Fine.
So, in my universe, when you turn into a fox, none of that stuff comes with you.
I just thought it made for a great visual sort of situation. I wasn't really thinking.
Oh no, I'm just
were going to bring scientific realism into the.
I'm just putting it out there. I know, because I like the idea that if you shapeshift, you have to carry like like a moo with you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Veshna didn't think that far ahead because Veshna was right now years old when she learned about shapeshifting, so we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Well, Gail Carriger, who is this really wonderful author that I love, has werewolves in her stories, and it's all in like alternative Victorian London, and they have to carry around like a suit coat and like a top hat as they like run through the city. And I just find that really funny. Just this idea of like transforming forms and having to take into consideration like what that would mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to keep thinking fox thoughts as much as you can.
Okay.
Or you'll turn back into a person and won't be any good at catching mice.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I bet you can't catch me. And they like run.
She's gonna give chase.
And like, you know how little fox kids like run everywhere? Like, I don't know how familiar you are with them. There are a lot of them in New Hampshire. And they just run around like cats chasing each other.
Yeah. That
like
I think she does it. And I think starting off, it's very like not natural looking.
Right. And I
like,
think the other fox like will come over and like boop her when she starts to act tired and like, you know, get her going again.
Yeah. I think it's just sort of as like something not realizing, like something that is used to thinking with 2 limbs now has 4.
Right.
And it, you know, we get like a pattern going, right? That we get sort of like the thing down, and then we don't know how to speed up or slow down. We know how to go at 1 speed. It's like a lot of that. And I imagine she tries to climb a tree, and she goes, what for her feels like forever, but it's like 1.5 feet off the ground, and she's like, oh, pardon me, I am so sorry.
And you know, I like to sort of imagine that as we sort of like pan out a little bit from this scene, we've got like Sage and Callie and Satriel like sort of trying to figure out this Fen situation. We've got Beckney and Pyron and a bunch of the younger fawns like coming up with this very elaborate post-dinner show. I think maybe Callie wanders over and challenges Aggro Sage to some sort of match, which Aggro Sage would be super into. And you know, and we see like some foxes like sort of running around, and that and maybe we see Lavender like riding as like a baby floats around above their head, and you know, and I think every once in a while Fen sort of like surfaces and says something like completely ridiculous, and goes back in. So
I request a turtle.
So as we sort of pan out for this episode, I'd like to sort of let everybody do their last like little scene of what they're doing specifically.
I definitely think like after I think Sage, that's not who I am, Veshna catches mice with the fox, and like there's like a little montage of like them doing that. And I think after everybody goes to bed, you see Fox Veshna like sneak into the sick room and curl up next to the tub where Fen is. And like that's where she goes to sleep. I imagine there's like, I don't know, some sort of something on the floor, like a rug, a towel, whatever. And I think that's sort of is what what she does. Like, I don't think she's at dinner, but I feel like there's so much going on, and she's also stuck. She's also in fox form.
Right.
So yeah.
And I really like the idea of like, you know, you're trying to catch mice and you're like super bad at it at first, of course. And so like the other little fox like kind of does that thing that cats do where it's only mostly dead.
Yeah.
Right. And you have all that fun, but right, like when things quiet down, you sneak over.
Yeah.
Sort of, yep. What about Beckney and Pyron? I really want to hear about what, and then Callie, I also want to hear about what the fight to the death is. It's not actually a fight to the death. But I want to hear about the acrobatic show.
Pat, you got anything off the top?
Off the top of my head, I just know Pyron, this sort of while he was getting stickied, while he was getting the other he would have pulled out a bunch of like his like gadgets and like his stage stuff.
The props, yeah.
Yeah. So there's, and in my head, the most obnoxious thing that we could do in this home would be a confetti cannon, because like that shit just goes everywhere.
It
know,
does.
like it's like falling from the ceiling years later because it's still up there. So I think I'm teaching the I'm getting the young ones like ready to like launch those off at different points of the performance.
And they are so into it. Like, this is the first time I think you've ever, like, you and Beckney are kind of on the same page, but now you have like a lot of hench people.
Hench people that can actually get most of it done. I don't think Beckney's been the best stage assistant.
They've not been exposed to our pranks.
Yeah, very true. Very true. I think while that's going on, Beckney's been practicing doing a handstand, but not the way you would expect. So instead of just being like, oh, I'll practice on like one arm, they've figured out a way, and they've had to use like the wood. Is it wood floor or is it dirt floor? I should have asked.
It's dirt.
Dirt?
I think so. I'm imagining that we're mostly outside during this time.
Oh, okay, cool. So they're learning how to use the dirt to make like a tripod arm. So instead of it just being like a solid arm, it's almost like split into 3 pieces of itself. And there's like 2 fingers on one and like 1 finger on the other 2. And they're learning to like hold themselves up with their own tripod arm and like do interesting things with their body. Nothing really spectacular, just kind of oh, look what I can do while balancing myself perfectly.
Okay, so after dinner, there's like a big family style dinner, and then people get to sort of do whatever they've been working on to the acclaim of the rest of the family. I think that's when the confetti cannon goes off, is when you're doing your thing. There's confetti cannons. There's a lot of like badly mismatched uniforms that people got out of a dress-up trunk. We, in my house, when a little girl one time said, "Everyone be quiet, I am doing a performance." And so I think it's kind of it's like a little bit of a performance where, you know, it's like a bunch of kids like doing a cool show, but everybody's super into it. What's the coolest thing Pyron does?
I feel like at some point I'm curled up in a ball and I'm just traveling between like from fawn to fawn. Like, I don't know if I'm being like past like a beach ball at a concert or what.
I love it. Well, and they have like a plant magic too, so they could sort of like make sure that like if you kind of fell a little, they could like prop you up with some sort of quickly growing vine.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and I think it's very well received. Everybody loves it. How about Callie and Agro Sage? What is the like wrestling match look like?
So I think before it starts, like Callie goes to the OG Sage, if you will, and is like, you know, come watch. You know, I want to show you what we do.
Okay.
Like making sure that's like Sage feels included, and kind of gauges if aggro Sage wants to like learn more or just fight. Which one does it seem like they want to do?
Well, I think that you've had some time this afternoon to work on it. I think Aggro Sage wanted to learn from you, but now is so hyped up by the crowd, they're just gonna be like all aggro all the time.
Okay. Then yeah, I think Callie's gonna sort of go all out with the fighting. You know, probably pulling her punches a bit here and there to make sure she doesn't actually seriously hurt this other fawn. But
yeah, well, and I think Aggro Sage really likes playing the part of the heel, right? The like wrestler who's the heel, and probably comes out in like, you know, like a cape and is like, I'm gonna murder you to death. Yeah, fight to the death, baby, and then dessert. Right? And is super into it, and everybody like is cheering because they love it when like they just know this is sort of how Aggro Sage is.
I think Callie lets them get like most of the way through that speech, and then like right as they're about to end, just does like a push off with the magic to like charge in really fast, sort of hovering above the ground, and ends up just like putting a hand like right on their torso and doing a little like force blast to like shove them back.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, and I think an Aggro Sage is pretty nimble and like kind of flip, like is able to kind of flip and like maybe charge you with their little horns. And it's sort of like this big, ridiculous, very dramatic fight, and is so happy. Aggro Sage is so happy to have someone to spar with that they literally do not care that they're getting their butt kicked.
Every time Callie goes to dodge or something like that, she just like bounces on her tail out of the way. Just really hamming it up like a monkey. And of course keeps doing things to show off for the other Sage.
We'll just call it, we have Sage and Aggro Sage.
Aggro, yeah. She's showing off for Sage, and also like making sure Aggro Sage is having fun.
Yeah, and I think by the end, like when I don't know, maybe you've got Aggro Sage like hung up by their two tiny horns as they're like, I think the other fawns with the confetti cannons start shooting confetti into the fight because they still have them. And so that's very exciting. So I think like good times are had by all, and it is a fun time. And Lavender sort of like after all that comes over and is like, I have your baby. Beckney, would you like to... I often take care of small children here when they are first made. Would you want me to keep this one for you so you can have a break, or would you like it returned?
I think there's a lot of complex emotions going over Beckney's face kind of all at once. Like they're all bunched up all at once. And they kind of just shut down for a second, like their brain overcooked. And then they do like a nod and a shake at the same time, like a can I decide tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay.
What would you like to do with this child tonight?
I don't know.
And I think Limebug is gonna wake up and sort of float over towards you with its little arms out.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Beckney just kind of reaches out, like holds them up in the air, like doesn't fully support the weight, just kind of like buoys them. And asks, actually, do you know any goblin songs?
Yeah. And so I think maybe we like pull away from Beckney and Lavender and a few of the other ones, like singing, like little, like having a little concert of goblin songs, and maybe Pyron is like, maybe they got Pyron to like, I don't know, make some very like gentle pyrotechnics
Like the
that are
backing,
like, yeah, that are like fireflies or something.
And during the whole thing, Beckney kind of leans over, like when there's a moment, Beckney leans over to Pyron and says, can you remember these? Because I can't do the singing, but you can teach me later.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
They're really catchy.
Yeah, and I think all the Flans here basically know some like old, it's like every person who does not actually speak French knows Alouetta.
Yep.
So it's sort of like that. Like some of them might speak Goblin and some of them might not, but they all know a few of the classics. So so maybe we sort of like pan out from the fire and, where everybody's sort of singing, and maybe Callie has like aggro Sage like asleep sort of near them, like fighting in their sleep, right? And maybe real Sage is on the other side.
I like to say that as soon as the fight was over, real Sage did hop over and was like, "That was awesome!" That was like really excited and like putting hands on and Callie being like, "That was so cool."
And then we hear like, and then we sort of like pan over and we can hear the goblin singing in the background, and you see a little bubbling cauldron and a little fox sleeping next to the bubbling cauldron. And that's where we're gonna leave it tonight. Very wholesome ending tonight.
Love that. Yeah, Callie is definitely eating up all of the attention from Sage. And real quickly before we start getting drilling noises next door again, that was really awesome. I'm gonna let everybody say what their favorite part was, where we can find them next, anything they want to share or plug, and then we're gonna go on a raid. We've got a raid cry, which is I request a turtle, and we'll go reverse order from where we started. So Calliope, we'll start with you.
It's always hard to go first because then everybody thinks of all the other things that I liked best, that I forgot about. I loved the reactions to the signs that everybody had, and I had like 15 more signs, just in case. Including one that said, "Sage, this means you." But you guys called my bluff early enough on that I didn't have to use them. And I just loved all the sort of little growth everybody did. I'm really excited to see what Beckney decides. Like, I'm excited to see Beckney coming into their own as their own person with their own priorities that are not Pyron. Because I think it's really important. Like, they're siblings, but I'm excited to see kind of what Beckney does when Beckney has to think of what Beckney wants. So that's kind of what we're doing. And I think I'm excited to see what happens with Finn too. It's very mysterious.
And then where can we find you, and anything else you want to share about?
Oh yeah, and I'm Calliope, and you can find me here. You can find me on the internet. You can find me working on my PhD and thinking about middle schoolers and napping. And you can also find me over on Zan's channel working on gaming the systems. And next week, Monday night, and next week we will be playing Microscope.
Awesome. And then next we've got Hannah. Same questions.
Veshna turned into a fox, and that was fantastic. I love Veshna. The whole thing was really good, though. Like, there's too many really good moments, but I really liked Veshna getting to have that little experience. As to where you can find me next, I will be back here on Raven's channel Friday, probably this time for real, because I hopefully won't be feeling sick, for Neon Devils 2, where I play V, who is a changeling, and seems nice. She's got nothing insidious going on, I promise.
Of course not.
Of course not.
Awesome. And then Pat, favorite part, where can we find you? Anything you want to share, plug?
Gosh, I think my favorite bits are just the cavalcade of new fawn people. It's just each new one that we met was just like, oh, there's more. And yes, them tumbling out immediately and me being like, oh. And then I also really enjoyed how Zan portrayed Fen at the beginning, just like starting off like just slightly like different with the motions, and as it all progressed, it was very, I liked that a lot. Yeah, you can catch me tomorrow night on my channel, where Zan will be running the premiere of our They Came From Beneath the Sea 3-part, our Neon Knights Reunited movie. And then I remember what I do. Then on Sunday night, we'll be back on my channel with our Urban Shadows campaign, Ruby Tooth Bay.
Awesome. And Jay, same questions.
I think, like, not weirdly, but like the one that really sticks out to me, because it was all lovely. I loved the whole biz, but I think there's just the little interactions between the characters this time, just like the one or two lines people had with each other, I think were my favorite bits, because they were so like, they weren't obvious, but they said a lot. Like, they were very subdued and kind of out of the way, but they did a lot, I think, for the characters. I have no idea which specific ones I mean, but there were a lot of little moments that all kind of added up in the episode, which I really liked. And yeah, I'm also excited to see where Beckney's going, because I have no idea what they're going to do. I never know until we're playing, so I'm just as lost as all of you are. Yeah, where you can find me next will be on Saturday for Animus Absentus. That'll be here on this channel at 6 Mountain Time. And we have a new ship, so we're no longer potentially being hunted by the cops, probably. Maybe, sort of. Give us a couple episodes, we'll get there.
Yeah, for now. Not being hunted for now.
Ominous.
It usually is. Well, next we've got Icy. What was your favorite part? Where can folks find you? Anything you want to share or plug?
Oh man, so I think the whole like a bunch of kids realize their friend is drunk situation of like, I think that this is what I think has been the most interesting, is that it's a whole bunch of like, it's like, it doesn't always happen in such a wholesome way, but it's like, because, Calliope and I teach middle school, and there comes this time where kids realize that the only reason they know each other is because they happen to live in the chunk of a town or in a series of towns that other people decided go to school together. And so, like, the idea that you have one fox girl, one pangolin, a goblin, a water friend, and a fawn, and a monkey friend, like, it's never occurred to any of these characters that, like, I'm the one of me. Like, I'm the one of, there's one family of water friends, there's one group of pangolins hanging out next to a monkey, a half fox, and our buddy might essentially be animated bread. We're not sure. And now it's like, well, where do all of these characters come from? And like, why are they all in this town and not with all of these other folk? And I think that that's really interesting to me. I think in terms of like specific moment from this episode of like the script, I love Sage and Satriel, and I also love Aggro Sage. And I feel like this is like Bizarro World, all of us, and I like Aggro Sage and Callie. That was really fun.
Awesome. And Zan, same questions.
Yeah, I'm Zan. Or you can find me most places as Insanity TTRPG or Insanity Gaming. I'm a professional GM and content creator for 5e World of Darkness powered by the Apocalypse and a whole bunch of others. You can find me next. I think I'm only in 6 streamed games at the moment a week. So you can find me Mondays over on my channel with Calliope for Gaming the Systems, Tuesdays over on Polished Cryptids in the wee hours of the morning, and here in the afternoon, Wednesdays on Tactrix channel for the next 3 weeks doing Are They Came From Beneath the Sea 3-shot Neon Knights Reunited. Thursday, nowhere. It's the one day I don't show up online unless it's a random stream on my channel. Friday is Polished Cryptids channel early in the morning. Saturday, potentially nothing, and Sunday back on Tactrix. I am writing a thing at the moment. I'm remastering, I guess, reworking the entirety of the 3.5 class, the Dread Necromancer, to 5e as the Dreaded Necromancer, just society's knee-jerk reaction to fear at anyone who is that in tune with the forces of life and death. It's a really fun class, and I'm going to be releasing some stuff on it pretty soon. Expect a full release in October. And so there were a couple of like really specific points that I really liked. I loved the foxes pooping noses. There was something that was very like, this is an inherent communication strategy and you understand it even if you haven't been necessarily exposed to it ever before in this way. I really loved that. I loved that that there were still old bottles of Faunuses lying around, and Sage's reaction to that was just perfect. And it was just and like kind of on a meta level, so like I'm someone who deals with bipolar disorder, and so having to have people around you reminding you that like, okay, maybe you aren't as okay as you feel was a very real experience. And I was like, oh, was not planning to play myself with Finn. Oh shit. But yeah, no, it was wonderful on so many fronts. It's a great time.
Awesome. I'm trying to think of my favorite parts. The whole thing was really good. I loved all of the fawns. The whole fawn village, I think was probably my favorite part. Just all the interactions. And I also really enjoyed Finn's gradual lapse into this sort of like really sick, drunk-like state. That was really well done. And Veshna's fox stuff was really cute. And then I think the absolute favorite part was everyone's reaction to the real Slim Sage joke. That was just a lot of fun. And Zan. And yeah, that was just one of those moments where it's just like the universe, like, here's this gift of this perfect timing joke that you can do. Anyways, I really enjoyed that, but the whole story was really great, and I'm really enjoying where all the characters are going and how they're growing, and all that. So, where you can find me next will be tomorrow at 6 p.m. Mountain Time for Exodus, which we're coming up on the end of that story, so it's going to get pretty exciting. The last session we had, one of our characters attacked, like, not the big bad of the city that we're in, but, like, one of the bigger ones, in a situation where we're really not in a great spot to be attacking anybody, so it's going to be real interesting how that plays out. And then other things to share, our plug is just our sponsors, which are Fundamental RPG. Get those links into chat. That's the system that we've been using for this game, Standing Stones. It's a simple D20 system. You can run everything from high fantasy, obviously, to sci-fi and everything in between on it, and it's really easy to just pick up and get started. You can get a copy of that physical book on Amazon, or if you prefer the PDF version, you can pick that up at coffee.com/raven, just like it's spelled at the bottom of the screen. And until the end of July, the PDF is on sale for half off. So you can pick that up for less than $10. So a pretty good deal. And also at coffee.com/raven, you can pick up Intrepid products, which is adventuring gear for real life, apparel, drinkware, and accessories with a tabletop theme to it. Go check that out. There's probably something that you will enjoy there. And then Die Hard Dice, which are just really, really great metal and polymer dice. They also sell dice bags and trays and accessories and a whole bunch of other stuff. They recently sent me this really cool Fey Queen set. It's one of their metal ones. It's my favorite set of dice now. And you can pick up your own set at dieharddice.com. Use the code BlackFeatherJune, all one word, capital B, capital J. You can get 10% off your entire order. And then finally, if you want to catch up on this show or others that we have on the channel, you can do so at the Fantasy Network at watch.thefantasy.network. Just go to the stream library and go to Black Feather Guild. And that's where you can see all of our other content. Yeah, it's free, so you can check out all of it without needing a subscription to anything. And I think that's everything. So we're going to go on a raid. We're going to go raid We Are Nerdsmith. Just a fantastic group of folks over there. Follow them if you're not doing so already. Our raid cry is I request a turtle. You can copy that right out of chat. And then I will see you all tomorrow. Bye, everybody.